Could humanity survive a Godzilla attack? Scientists weigh in the arrival of Monarch. Legacy of Monsters Season 2 has reignited a classic question. If Godzilla were real, could humanity survive? The hypothetical scenario, while rooted in fictional spectacle, forces us to confront the sheer scale of such a threat. Experts in geology, biology, and paleontology have weighed in, and the answer is complicated. The scale of destruction, Godzilla's mere existence, would be a catastrophic biomaltering event. Dr. Emily Zarka, a monster scholar, points out that the Titan's size alone would fundamentally reshape life as we know it. Senior research geologist Dr. Hans Dieter Sues echoes this, stating that frequent land excursions by a creature of that magnitude would cause widespread environmental devastation, favoring resilient plant life like ferns over others. The biggest immediate threat isn't malice, it's clumsiness. Godzilla isn't intentionally destructive, he just doesn't fit on this planet. His mass and movements would cause incidental yet catastrophic damage. The only reliable response, according to Sues, is simple: rapidly moving away from the direction in which Godzilla is traveling and hoping that it does not change course. Biological impossibilities and radioactive realities, the very idea of Godzilla violates the laws of physics. A creature of that size shouldn't be able to exist, let alone resist conventional weaponry. However, if we suspend disbelief, we must address the biological implications. Godzilla's radioactivity is a major concern. Professor Eric C. Skirmer of the University of Edinburgh explains that Godzilla would need internal shielding to sustain himself, which might also protect humans nearby, except for the fallout from his atomic breath. Exposure to Godzilla's radioactive fire would leave areas uninhabitable for extended periods, causing long-term health consequences for anyone remaining. The creature is essentially a walking nuclear reactor, and any attempt to kill it could trigger a far worse disaster. Coexistence, a grim outlook despite the dangers. Outright conflict with Godzilla is likely futile. Dr. Debbie Castle notes that humans' inherent tendency to provoke threats would only worsen the situation. The more sensible approach is coexistence, which requires accepting that Godzilla's priorities differ from ours. He doesn't want to eat us, so he'd likely leave us alone if we didn't antagonize him. This also implies a fundamental shift in our worldview. Zarka suggests we might even begin to worship Godzilla as a deity, as some cultures have revered apex predators throughout history. The Titan's existence would force humanity to reconsider its place in the natural order. The inevitable military response, and why it won't work, despite the futility, humans would inevitably try to kill Godzilla. Conventional weaponry is useless, but the oxygen destroyer from older films could theoretically suffocate him. Sending him into space is another option, though it would require at least 360 SpaceX Starship rockets, costing over $36 billion. Even then, Godzilla has demonstrated the ability to survive in the vacuum of space. The only viable long-term solution is adaptation. Sues proposes that humans should live deep underground to avoid encounters, while Castle stresses that coexistence hinges on our ability to stop provoking the monster. Ultimately, the most realistic outcome isn't conflict, but acceptance. Godzilla is the king of the monsters, and humanity may have no choice but to worship him or at least stay out of his way.